So that's a great set of sessions. Thank you very much. Really exciting to hear for me, and I hope I'm not overusing that word today, the huge range of different things that are being done across the cross-cutting themes to support the work of the other themes as well as off their own bat. And I think attendees might not be aware just how much some of the things you've been talking about are at the cutting edge of what's happening in pandemic research and pre-pandemic research in terms of the big data and a number of other things that were being discussed there. And we were slightly ahead of the curve in that the classic study that you were talking about there and the beneficial changes network that followed. So thanks very much, everybody. So I'd now like, if I may, to hear from colleagues about today, any questions, any comments they have. You can please use the chat on the right-hand side, which should appear now on everybody's page. Or put your hand up, or however you want to indicate that you'd like to say something. Don't forget to use unmute if you want to say something. There's something else I'd like you to do before we finally get into that, which is we're holding our next ARCFEST on the 29th of June, which will be Caroline's clapping. Well done, Caroline. On the 29th of June, which again will be virtual, and you should all have that in your diary. We did send that out before, but we'll be sending it out again. But on the in September, the 28th of September, we're hoping that by then, with the changes, we'll be established into being able to meet in person. So the plan is to hold our next but one ARCFEST in September in a really nice break from what we've all been dealing with over the past year plus, out in a hotel venue just outside Kendal called the Castle Green, which actually is quite close to the mainline train, so it's good for public transport. And we're planning to hold it there, but what we'd like to know is a rough indication of what proportion of people attending today would be wanting to attend in person or would be wanting to attend virtually. So I don't know whether we can get the poll question onto the screen. So could you answer that now, please? Give you a couple of minutes. Okay, could you stick the result up for us, please? Okay, so definitely worth going ahead with the plans to hold this at the venue. So that's great. It's very helpful for us. Thank you. I'm not sure from my script now whether we actually have any more polls to do.
No, Mark, no polls.
Right, so what I'd now like to do is open up the questions. So the first thing is a question from Caroline Watkins, which is that she'd be very keen to know any more capacity building suggestions or questions that anybody has. And Caroline might want to just introduce that question.
Yes, I mean, obviously one of the things that happened today was that Selena described her pathway from having an idea, getting her colleagues together, and then coming to the person-centered complex care team, and then through Midas and Impact and those things. And I was just wondering, I mean, obviously she found it a positive experience, and said, which the comment I liked, even if they didn't get funding for their research, they'd found it really beneficial. And I just wondered if there was something like that that other people would want to avail themselves of. Should we be making more opportunities like that?
I mean, please feel free to unmute and just speak. Don't have to wait to be invited, because that just slows it down. We haven't got that much time. So if too many people speak at once, I'm sure they can back off and wait for each other. Is that somebody wanting to join?
I'll butt in, shall I? I thought it was a great example, and I'm sure there are lots of other teams and projects that can be helped in this way.
Yeah, I didn't know whether we should. I mean, in a way, that's happened because it's sort of evolved in the context of that project. But I guess we could make a more formal opportunity if that's something people want
Yeah.
to do.
We talked previously about trying to pull together a workshop or training day, and that's proved difficult. But I would be keen to discuss further on a more formal way of coordinating that kind of knowledge exchange.
Okay, great.
I think we used to have knowledge exchange when it was Clark. We used to have different people coming to speak. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, you're fine, Dorcas. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Dorcas.
Yes,
Carry on.
Yeah. You know, we used to have knowledge exchange originally about a few years ago, and we have different people to come and speak. And the public advisors who are encouraged as well to present things as well. Maybe we can look at that again, but we used to have partners there. I know we have partners meeting, which is different.
Dorcas, there are different, that's really helpful. Thank you. And thanks for reminding us about that. There are different ways to do this. So we have the theme meetings, and I think just about all of the themes now meet, certainly at the ARCFEST, but a lot of us meet 6 weekly or even more frequently in between. And that's always a time to come and find out what's going on and discuss projects. And if you go on the website, we're always, please come and visit the website. A lot of these talks and presentations are available if you miss something. We also, people put up on there if they're looking for partners to participate in developing a project. So please do keep visiting those and make them an active way of communicating between the different types of participants in the ARC. So yes, I think there's lots of different ways we can participate. And just to reassure, I mean, colleagues, Caroline's team runs the internships, and we were actually stunned when we realized we'd hit our target despite the pandemic for people to take up an offer of an internship. It took a couple of months longer past the end of the first year to do that, but we are just about up to where we expected to be by now. Caroline, when's the next competition date for interns?
I think George can probably tell you more, but I think we were thinking of September. Is that right, George?
I think we should launch something over the summer with a view to interviewing and recruiting people at the start of the autumn. So guys, the start of September. So we're going to come together with a meet and come up with a program of what that offer is going to be. And obviously the races internships have gone very well, as have the fellowship development. But obviously there's prioritized projects and potentially the beneficial changes network. Some of those projects may need interns as well. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag, but so a bit of a pick and mix, if you will. So to give staff in the member organisations an opportunity to think about what type of project they'd like to be involved in.
So before we finish, there's something I'd like to do as director, which is we've still got some more conversation time, but in case we run out of time, I really want to acknowledge the very hard work done behind the scenes to get this day up and running and to get everything organized. I really want to thank the team behind the IT. I hope despite there have been some blips, and it's always an issue with technology and bandwidth. I think I've been struggling here, and I think it's probably more to do with the technology and the lack of access to the infrastructure that brings the signals along the cables to me rather than the actual system itself that slowed things up. But I think it's worked really slickly today, relatively, and there's a lot of effort, and I really want to thank the team for that and all their hard work. And I hope that those attending have found it useful. And we will be sending out a couple of things which I really want to highlight. One is we'll be sending out feedback forms, so please do give us honest feedback, but hopefully relatively constructive. And the other thing that you'll be getting if you're an ARC member lead is we'll be asking you to look at the priorities that were identified today from the theme meetings as an organization to do two things. And this is really important because we really need your feedback, because this is, of course, your resource for spending as well as central government's. And that is, we want to know if you agree with prioritizations or not. So please do complete that poll as it's sent out to you. And also, we're really keen to know which member organizations would like to participate in the projects that are prioritized. So there's both of those questions are really key, crucial elements for us to make sure that our program is meeting the needs and priorities of the wider 62 member organization membership of the ARC Northwest Coast. We need your voice to be able to be sure that what we're doing is what you're keen that we do and you see as important. So any other comments from anybody? Yes, can't do anything about head popping. Sorry about that. Okay, well, it seems like we have stunned you into silence and we are getting close to the end.
Can I just say I think I've had a comment. So for Dorcas, you can email me or I'll be in touch with you about the Nest at Home project. I think Dorcas had a question on that one. So yeah, I'll be in touch.
So I'm just going to do a few closing remarks, but feel free to interrupt me if there's something else you want to say. So I've thanked the ARC staff. I'd now like to thank very much the members who have joined us today and the public advisors who've joined us today. We really do recognize the time you take and the energy you put in to make these days a success. I'd also like to thank LiveWorks, which is the organization who've helped deliver the technical arrangements for today. And thank you very much for that team. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes to get this to work the way it has done today. And I, for one, have found it a particularly good interface to be able to get our way around. And in fact, we had to make a lot less movements backwards and forwards than we have in the past. And that was much appreciated. So thank you for that. As you have said already, we're always very keen to get your input and to hear from you. Please use our web address, our email as well, ARC Northwest Coast, all one word in small, @liverpool.ac.uk, and just email us with any queries that you have, and a member of the team will get back to you, usually within 24 to 48 hours if it's working days. We have a contact option on the website, which is www.arc-nwc.nihr.ac.uk. I hope somebody's putting these in the chat. I can't because I've got two different screens and computers. We're putting a selection of our recordings on our YouTube channel. And if anybody didn't see the introductory YouTube from today's LiveWorks presentation, please do look at it. It's a great summary of all the hard work that colleagues have been doing to get us up to where we are today. So if you go on to our Twitter, which is @ARC_Northwest Coast, or onto our website, you'll find out more about what's going on. With permissions from our authors, we'll also post presentations on the presentation section of our website within the next week or so. And unless there's any other final comments, thank you very much for your time. I know it's been a long day, but it really is, I hope you agree, a great way for us to work with you, collaborate with you, get your views, update you on what we're doing, reassure you that we're not wasting your time and money, I hope. And take care, keep well. Next time we meet, most if not all of us would have been offered at least one vaccination, and we should all be feeling a bit more protected and coming out of the pandemic, which is good news, I hope. But I do also want to recognise all the hard work that colleagues have done towards COVID, both clinically and in terms of the research and implementation work we've been doing and will continue to do for quite some time coming. So thank you very much, everybody.